Welcome to A Change of Heart podcast. I'm your host, Angel Walston. And in this space, we navigate life together. We ask the hard questions like, what is the truth you haven't told? But most importantly, we grow together. And sometimes that leads to a change of heart. Hey everyone, welcome back to A Change of Heart podcast. I'm your host, Angel, and if you're joining me for the first time, hey girl, welcome to the potty. And if you are a returning listener, hey girl, hey, welcome back. Thank you for joining me again. Today we are going to be talking about bringing the joy back into your journey, bringing the joy back into your process. And I think this is a really important conversation to have as we are working on healing, growing, evolving, all the things, just to remember to bring the joy back into that journey as well. And so as I was looking at questions for the question of the day, because we are going to do a question of the day today, I found one that I was like, oh, this is perfect and I love it. So today's question of the day is, what does your joy look like today? And I just think that's such a great question for this topic. So what does my joy look like today? For one, I am well rested, and I was struggling yesterday because I went to sleep way too late for the time that I have to get up for work. But I was able to go to sleep a little bit earlier yesterday. So I feel really well rested. I feel my mood feels lifted. And I just overall feel good. And that's a big win. I'm gonna take that. That is what's bringing me joy today. And also my little puppy dog, it's technically my brother, but he had to have surgery. It's been about a week and a half ago now. And obviously, like anytime you have to like have your animal put to sleep or anything like that, that's a little nerve-wracking. You just hope and pray that everything's going to go fine, that they're going to wake up. And he's doing really well, and I'm really happy that he is like getting back to himself. So that's bringing me joy as well. So you all know what to do. You can answer this question on my Instagram page, on my stories at Angel C. Walston, or you can leave your answer in the comment section. But let me know what is bringing you joy today. I love that question. I can't wait to see what your responses are. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into today's topic on bringing the joy back into your process, bringing it back into your journey. A few episodes ago, I don't remember specifically which episode it was, but I talked about listening to this. It was like the 21-day fast for Belong Church, and Pastor Brittany Morton, she was doing, I think it was like the second or third day. I'll link it in the description box on my YouTube and in the show notes for the podcast. But she was talking about the importance of bringing the joy back into the journey, because we've become so focused on, I got to get it right. I got to do everything right. And it's like you've become so anal about getting everything right that you've really taken the joy out of your journey. You've taken the joy out of the process. And as I was thinking about that, here lately, I mentioned on the last episode that I have been in need of a long overdue reset. And typically when I do a reset, it's just kind of like a clean break from a lot of things. So a part of my reset is a lifestyle reset, a mental reset, a spiritual reset, a health reset. And so I was talking with one of my friends lately and just telling her like, so this is what we're going to do, right? Starting on this day, we are going to cut out all fried foods, no bread. I changed it from no bread to limited bread because sis loves a croissant. We love a biscuit every once in a while. So limited bread, no fast food, and pretty much like a clean eating, healthier lifestyle. The other part of it was I was going to walk 3 times a week, work out 3 times a week. I've changed that because I was like, girl, who do you think you are? Like, you are setting the bar way too high starting off. You're setting yourself up for failure. No, ma'am. So we changed it to working out 2 times per week and then walking 2 times per week, because that's a little bit more realistic for my lifestyle. Like, to do that and only have 1 day of rest, no, ma'am, we're not doing that. That's no, thank you. I want to be more intentional about just listening to more like inspirational self-help kind of podcasts, things like that. Listen, I don't be listening to ratchet stuff, but y'all know I love my true crime podcast, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I also want to just make sure that I'm like listening to things that is like really edifying as well. So trying to get back to that, getting back into therapy. I fell off on that. It's not so much I fell off. I stopped a few months ago, and so getting back into therapy and just working on the whole shebang, and then spiritually just getting back into just really being intentional about developing my individual relationship with God. And so I've decided to fast one day out of the week, get back into daily devotions. I don't know exactly when I'm going to start it, but I am going to do a devotion that I'm going to open up publicly for women to join. So I will share that with you all when that is decided on. And just being intentional about like reading my word, prayer time, all of that. And so I was sharing this with one of my friends, just like, this is kind of where my headspace is. This is what I want to do as far as my reset. And I hit send. I had written everything out that I was going to do for my reset. And it's like 5 minutes after I hit send, I was like, yes, I do want to do this. And yes, we do need this because sis been doing the most, actually doing the least. Like, I can't even say we've been doing the most. We've been doing the least. Right after I hit send to her, I followed it up with, but I also want to have fun. Like, I need this reset for sure. 100% for sure. Need this reset, need to make some changes in my lifestyle. But I also want to have fun because I feel like when I get into these headspaces of, I need a reset, I need to change this, I need to work on this, I need to be disciplined, I need to be consistent, I need to do all of these things, I need to be intentional. That puts me in a headspace of you got to do everything right. You got to check everything off. And that is something that I struggle with, of trying to get everything done, trying to do everything right. And when I miss the mark, it's like, I feel like a failure. And I'm really working on being intentional about correcting that mindset and allowing myself that if you fall off, if you have a mistake, like, it's okay. Just don't allow your time that you take off when you fall off. Don't allow that to be an extended stay. Like, let it be 1 or 2 days and then jump right back on. And so I sent that to her and I was like, I also want to have fun because I don't want to live a life that is just about rules or that is just about checking things off a to-do list or always working towards something. And let me rephrase that. It's not so much about always working towards something, because I do think that it's great for us to, be a work in progress, to be intentional about our personal development, be intentional about trying to become the best version of ourselves. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. However, I do think that we can put ourselves in a position where we become so burdened by the pressure of that. And that's more so of my issue, that I'm trying to be mindful of, like, okay, yes, we can do all these things. Yes, we can work on ourselves. Yes, it's important and necessary, but also let's have fun. Let's not take the fun out of the journey because you're so strict about trying to be disciplined, trying to stay on, trying to get everything done. Like, girl, that's not living. Like, that's not the goal here. That's not what we're looking forward to. So with that, I want to share some things that I am trying to be mindful of and some things that I want to incorporate as I am on this reset, as I'm on this journey to recorrect some patterns in my life. And I want to share them with you. So the first thing, this actually hit me as I was driving to work, and that is, it's important to find the balance of being disciplined while also giving myself the freedom to not be bound by it. And what I mean by this is, sometimes as we are working towards something, we can end up making that thing that we're working towards, we can end up making that problematic, even if the thing itself is not an issue, or it's not a negative thing, or it's not something that has a negative connotation associated with it. And obviously, a lot of us are striving towards discipline, right? Typically when we're praying, it's like, pray for discipline, pray for consistency. Like, we are all striving towards that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes we can get into a mindset of, as we're working towards being disciplined, we end up becoming so rigid that we don't give ourselves any room for flexibility. We end up making a plan for the day, and we have every hour assigned to something, and we're trying to stick to it. And if we get behind, if we miss something, it's like, oh, I didn't do enough. And it's like, girl, you got 25 things on your to-do list. It's 24 hours in a day. Give yourself some grace. And so I think it's important for us, as we are on this journey of trying to become better women, trying to work on ourselves, trying to become the best version of ourselves, to remember that that does require discipline. Absolutely, 110%. It's going to require you to do things that you haven't done before. And it's also going to require you to be intentional about doing things differently than what you've done in the past. It's going to require you, for some of you, to get up earlier than you normally would so that you start a routine. For some of you, the discipline part is starting routine and getting into a habit of doing certain things. But with that, I think it's so important for us to be able to learn that it's necessary to have discipline, but also give yourself the freedom to not allow yourself to be bound by the weight of, I have to do everything right. I have to get this done. I have to, like that pressure. It's like that, the weight of that in itself can put you in a place where you're in bondage to perfectionism that you don't even realize, because you're calling it something else other than perfectionism. You're calling it, well, I'm being disciplined. I'm working on being disciplined. And yes, that is necessary, but you can, like I said, you can become so rigid that you don't give yourself any wiggle room. You don't give yourself any kind of flexibility to change. You don't give yourself any flexibility to do something different, to experience something new, to even just to allow God to reveal certain things to you, because you're on this regimen, you're on this routine, you're on this discipline kick. And it's like, it's great and it's necessary for us to have a level of discipline. I'm not knocking that, right? Obviously, that is something that we should be striving towards, because you don't, also the flip side of it, you don't want to be out here all willy-nilly and just like, I'm going to wake up and just see how I feel, see where the wind blows me. Like, no, ma'am. Like, there very much so is a balance between the two. And I've always shared, I operate in extremes, okay? I have not changed that. I'm still working on that. I operate in extremes. I don't know how to do happy mediums. I'm on one end of the spectrum or I'm on the other end. And I know that I have the ability to be in a space where, instead of being like so relaxed and, oh, we're just going to see how we feel, we're just going to do what we're feeling today, to being like, okay, we have this regimen, we have this routine, we have this list, we got to do everything on this list. And it's like, girl, you are exhausting. Like, it's too much. It's too much. And I don't want you to be discouraged by feeling like you're missing the mark, or you're not doing enough, or you're not getting enough done, because you set this unrealistic expectation of yourself to be disciplined. And instead of actually developing a healthy discipline, you are now putting yourself into this box of rules and regimen, like I said, that is so rigid that you feel like you have no space for error. You have no space to make a mistake. You have no space to be able to make changes even. So as you are working towards being disciplined, like I said, 100% necessary, not trying to knock it, not trying to downplay it, not even trying to be dismissive of the power that comes with that as well. Because when you're able to create a disciplined lifestyle, there's benefits to that, right? You see results in a lot of different areas of your life. So I'm not trying to sit here and act like discipline is wrong, or discipline, you don't need to strive towards being disciplined. I believe that we do, but I also believe that there is a space for us to be disciplined and flexible. There's a space for us to be disciplined and give ourselves grace. There's a space for us to be disciplined, but also give ourselves enough opportunity to be able to do it differently, to make changes, to not stick to the plan 24/7 all the time. And I think for those of us who can be type A people, or who are very much so like to-do listers, those who are very strict about making sure they dot every I, cross every T, those who want to check everything off of their to-do list for the day, it can be very discouraging or even uncomfortable when it feels like you missed something, or you didn't get it done, or you didn't get it right. And you start beating yourself up for something that is like, sis, it's not even that deep. Like, you can chill. Like, you don't have, the world is not going to end. Nothing's going to stop. You can start over and it's going to be okay. So I just want to encourage you, as you are trying to navigate this space that you are in, as you're trying to grow, as you're trying to better yourself, as you're working towards something, A part of bringing the fun into it is allowing yourself the space and the opportunity that you need to be able to adjust, to be able to make changes, and also just the freedom to not be bound by this list or not be bound by all these things that you feel like you need to do. And also being willing to listen to your body at times. Like, one of the things that I want to commit to is being disciplined when it comes to working out. I should have worked out yesterday. I needed to. I was exhausted. And I said, you know what? I'm going to rest and I'm going to be okay with that. I'm not going to feel like, oh, we didn't work out. We didn't miss our workout for the week. Like, child, we can add a workout in Thursday. Like, that's going to be okay. It's not the end of the world. Learn the balance between giving yourself the grace that you need to be able to listen, be in tune with your body, be in tune with your spirit, be in tune with your mind, while also knowing when you need to push yourself. Because there is a balancing act there. And listen, y'all, I 100% believe that balance is a scam. Like, I don't think that there is a thing of 100% balance, because you cannot fully give yourself 100%, show up fully, I would say, 100% in every single area of your life. That's just not realistic. Like, there are going to be some areas that require you to give 70%, and other areas, as a result of you giving 70% in this one area, they got to get 10%. They have to get 20 or 30. So I do think that when it comes to this whole balancing act, we can set up this unrealistic expectation for ourselves that we're going to do all the things, we're going to get everything done, we're going to have this great little balancing act. And you don't even realize that you've made an idol out of your routine. You've made an idol out of your to-do list. You've made an idol out of all of these things that you have put in place to be disciplined. And it's like, you don't even realize how you've become bound to this ideology of what you do. Like, that now becomes your identity. That now becomes what you feel like makes you feel good about yourself. It's like you've put all of your value and your weight and your worth in you getting it right. You doing all of the things, you doing everything to a T, to the schedule. And it's like, okay, you got everything done, but are you well rested? You got everything done, but what's your relationships like with your friends, with your family? When the last time you went out and did something for fun? When is the last time that you did something that brought you joy? Like, when is the last time that you showed up for yourself in a way that wasn't bound by your routine, wasn't bound by, I got to do this, I got to do that? When's the last time you had fun? And when you sit back and think about, like, what is the last thing that I did for myself that wasn't a part of my to-do list, that was something that just fed my soul, that just made me feel good inside? It wasn't work. It wasn't something that I had to think about. It wasn't something that I had to, convince myself, like, all right, we got to do this because it's on our to-do list. What is something that you did that just brought you joy, just made you happy? That's something to think about. And if you can't remember, right now, today, as you're listening, pause this, make plans for this weekend to do something that really cultivates joy in your life. Because sis, what? You don't know the last time you did something that, like, made you happy, that made you feel good inside, that wasn't work or wasn't something that is like, oh, I did everything on my to-do list that makes me happy. Like, okay, I get that, but also no, like, what is something that's just for you that you love? And that is a good transition into my next point, which is implementing a reward system. So one of the things that y'all, all right, so I know how I just went in, well aware of what I said literally 5 seconds ago, well aware. But don't come for me when I say what I'm about to say. So I want to say in the beginning of season 4, somewhere early on in season 4. So y'all know that's been months ago at this point. I talked about how I wanted to start doing something one day out of the month that was like just for me, something that cultivated joy, something that made me happy, something I didn't have to think about, something that wasn't for anybody else. I wasn't producing anything for anybody else, but it solely was something for me. Y'all ain't been doing, okay? Listen, I know what I just said. I know, all right? I know the message hits the messenger too, okay? I'm well aware of what I just said. That's why I'm sharing it with y'all, because I get it, I know. But I ain't been doing it. So something that I want to be intentional as I'm doing this reset is really focusing on a reward system. So it's not just about this, I'm always doing something that it's like, that is forcing me to like work on myself. A part of the reward system is, okay, yes, I did this to work on myself, but even if I don't do something to work on myself, like let me treat myself in a way that just something that brings joy. So as I was sharing with one of my other friends, my whole little reset list, and I was talking about like this clean eating, we're gonna, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And she was like, I really think you should incorporate cheat meals. I think that's necessary because it's easy to fall off a diet that you really don't enjoy, that you really don't like. And when you do fall off in that way, it can then become this thing of you overeat or you eat a lot of the things that you shouldn't eat because you went a long time without eating it. And that's not for everybody. I'm speaking for myself, okay? And so it can really be as simple as that. If you're working on your diet, that's great. Add a little cheat meal in every 2 weeks or what you feel comfortable with. But also going back to that place of finding something that you really enjoy. So this could be going to the park. It's really nice out, although it has been very hot out here lately, like 90 plus. And the AC went out at work. Like, how ghetto. I'm like, this is crazy. Anyways, it can be going for a walk in the park, reading a book, just trying something new. So maybe trying a new restaurant. If you're trying to like work on your health and like lifestyle, eating all of that, maybe not the best plan for you, but that can be like a reward, a part of your reward system. When you have ate healthy, you got your workouts in, whatever it might be, treat yourself to a new restaurant. That's your little cheat meal. For some of you, it can be as simple as just like buying a shirt, buying a dress, buying the shoes that you wanted, just something that it's like, I've worked towards. It's like I'm doing the inner work, I'm doing the work on myself, and I'm gonna treat myself to this. Now, also hear me on this, not to be super lax with it, because it's like we don't want to reward bad behavior, but also don't abuse that. And then if you don't meet your goals, if you're not doing what you're supposed to, it's like, well, I'm not going to reward myself. Sometimes you just need a little boost. Something I like to do, which I'm not saying is the right thing, I'm not encouraging it, I'm just saying this is what I tend to do when I have a moment of falling off of my reset and I know I need to get back on, specifically when it comes to like eating healthy and all of that. I will acknowledge it. And then that day, I'm going to eat what I want to, okay? I'm going to eat good. I'm going to eat what I want to. And then we're going to restart again the next day. So sometimes you need to have like a little treat for yourself. And then the next day, go and say, all right, let me go ahead and get back on track. So it really doesn't have to be anything super drastic. It can be as simple as like spending time with a friend. It can be like going to get a pedicure. And that's if you like that. Here's the other thing too. Your reward system should be something that you actually enjoy, something that actually is like fun for you, something that you actually like. I don't enjoy getting my nails done. I don't enjoy the process of it. We're going on a tangent. Y'all just follow me. We're going to come back. I promise. Don't you worry. This is my beef with getting my nails done and stuff. One, I don't like people messing with my feet. I'm not a feet person. I don't like people messing with my feet, but it's like sometimes I just don't feel like doing my own feet. So I don't get pedicures like year round like a lot of the girls, to each their own, but I just don't like people messing with my feet. So for the most part, I'm gonna do my own feet. So for me, getting a pedicure is not a part of my reward system because I don't enjoy that. And I don't enjoy getting my nails done because, listen, they be cutting you with that little thing. I hate that. And then if I don't like my nails, just like the person of me who is not confrontational for the most part, it's like, I don't want to have to keep telling you like, oh, I don't like that, or I don't like this shape. And I've done that before. And the girl, she was doing her best. She really was trying to fix it. And it still won't right. And I was like, this stresses me out. Like, this doesn't feel like a good time. Like, I don't want to have to like keep telling you what you're doing wrong. That makes me feel uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable. Like, it's just awkward. So I share that to say, if that's not your thing, if you don't enjoy that, don't go to the nail shop. If you don't like sitting and having to wait to get your hair done, maybe that's not your reward system, because this should be something that really does refuel you. It brings joy back into you. It brings the fun to your life, to your journey, to your process. If it's stressing you out, honey, that is not the choice for you. That should not be a part of your reward system. That's just something you do on any other day when you got the time and patience. Don't make that your reward system if you know it's going to be something, a part of your reward system. Don't make that a part of your reward system if you know it's going to be something that stresses you out, if you know it's going to be something that you don't really enjoy or that you don't like. Don't do that. Find something that you really do enjoy, while also challenging yourself to try something new. I've said that before, but challenge yourself to try something new, because you never know what you might try that you've never done before, that you've never experienced before, that you actually really like. That is just a good time that you have been missing out on, but just by stepping outside of your comfort zone and trying a pottery class, going to the shooting range, like something just super random. It's like, you know what? I'm just going to try something new. Get on Groupon, y'all. Groupon have all kinds of random things. Get on Groupon, see what's out there in your city, see what you like, and then go from there. And another thing with that is also having girls' nights, like having time with your girls that you can just be your full authentic self. You don't have to put on, you ain't got to pretend, you ain't got to show up as no one else. You literally just get to exist. You literally just get to be present. You get to laugh. Y'all get to talk about life. You might cry. Like, just to be able to have good girlfriends, underrated. Like, having good girlfriends, it really helps. You need other women who also are like-minded, who are striving, who are trying to be better, who are growing, who are evolving, who are healing. You need those spaces. And when you have those girls' nights out, it just reminds you, one, that you're not alone. Like, you have other people who are in it with you, who are in the grind with you. You have other people who understand your path, who understand where you're trying to go. You have other people who are also on the journey with you, who are also working towards the same thing that you are. And sometimes you just have to have like those moments where you have conversations with your girlfriends and just express your heart, express where you are, for them just to remind you, it's like, girl, you dope. Like, you're doing great. You're doing amazing. Your feelings are valid. And you just need those moments sometimes where you're able to have those conversations and just sit with your girls and allow yourself to be present. That's a part of bringing the fun into the journey as well, because it's just something about good girlfriend time. It's something about, and it, listen, everything don't have to require money. You can go to your friend's house. Y'all can sit and kiki for hours. Like, it doesn't always require you to go out to dinner. You can get super cute and get dressed up if that's a part of your fun. If that's something you enjoy, absolutely, I'm here for it. Get your makeup done, put on a little lash, a little red lip. Yes, ma'am. Put on your heel, put on that little red dress. Come on now. I'm here for all of it. If you don't enjoy that, however, y'all might just want to kick it at the house, and that's okay too. But it's just something about having good girlfriends. One part of it is accountability, obviously, like to be able to have someone who can hold you accountable, who you can share what you're thinking, what you're feeling. And they can also give you feedback. If it's like, baby girl, you're doing the most. Like, I need you to chill. Like, and don't take all of that. And you can trust like their wisdom. You can trust their advice that they give to you. But the other level of it is also just the fun aspect of having a space where you can remove yourself from having to put on for work, for putting on for wherever else, where you can literally just be yourself and you can just laugh. And sometimes it's just about sitting in silence too, and just having someone's presence there, but y'all ain't even got to say nothing to each other. I love those times too. So schedule you a good girlfriend's night out, night in. And even a phone call. It doesn't even have to be a thing of, all right, well, I got to get dressed. I got to find this. I got to find daycare. I got to set this up. I got to do a phone call. You ever call somebody and you think you're going to be on the phone for 15, 20 minutes and an hour and a half go by and y'all like, why don't we talk more often? We ain't talked in months. That's why y'all end up on the phone for 3-4 hours. So schedule you a girls check-in, whether it's in person, y'all meeting up somewhere, on the phone, whatever it might be. Talk to your girlfriends and just allow that to be a space for them to pour back into you. All right, the final thing that I want to talk about is giving yourself permission to drop the facade. I'm going to run that one back. Give yourself permission to drop the appearance of having fun or joy in your process. Give yourself permission to drop the facade of everything's great, everything's going well. I love it. I love my healing journey so much. It's so amazing. Sometimes it's not, y'all. Like, listen, it's hard. It's so hard sometimes. And sometimes you feel frustrated. You feel frustrated with yourself. You feel frustrated with the process. You can feel frustrated with the lack of process. You can feel frustrated with God. Can we be honest? You can feel like you aren't where you thought you should be or would be at this point based off of how long you've been on your healing journey, as though there's like an expiration date on when you're just going to be magically healed. And you can get to a place where you're trying to fake it until you make it. And it's like, you don't have to live like that. I want to encourage you all to give yourself permission to stop feeling like you have to pretend, to stop feeling like, I have to present well. I have to present like everything's great, or I have to present with a smile. I have to present in this way. It's okay if you don't feel like that. It's okay if you're having one of those moments, because there really is freedom in being able to share openly and honestly and not feel like you're going to be judged, not feel like you have to make people get it or wonder like, oh, are they going to feel like I'm less of a Christian? Like, I don't know. What am I supposed to do? I want to encourage you to give yourself permission to be honest, because here's the other thing. God be knowing, like, whether we share with him our hearts, whether we share with him our thoughts, whether we share with him what we're feeling, what we're thinking, he knows. He already knows. And he's not bothered by it. He's not offended by it. He's not looking at you like, when is she going to get it right? Like, God, he wouldn't say that to himself, but it's just like this feeling of, I have to pretend. I have to act like everything's okay. I have to act like everything is fine. I have to act like, I'm doing great. I'm out here living my best life ever, and I'm actually struggling and I feel like I'm not right. It's okay. Give yourself permission to relieve yourself of the need of having to pretend or having to present like you're good all the time. No one is good 24/7. Nobody is Superwoman. I don't care what anybody try to portray. We're good at portraying it, but the reality is there's no one of us who is Superwoman. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to be Superwoman. I don't want to carry the cape anymore. Like, I don't want to walk around portraying like I can do all the things. I got everything. I have everything figured out. I don't want to do that. It's exhausting trying to keep up that facade. And specifically as a believer, I want to be known for my joy, because my joy is supposed to come from the Lord. Heavy on supposed to, right? And it's not that he doesn't bring joy. It's not that he's not the fulfiller of our joy, but we can put ourselves in a position where we're trying to find joy and make joy happen through all of these other outside things. We're trying to fill certain voids. We're trying to make ourselves feel better. We're trying to make ourselves feel accomplished or feel like we're doing something. And so we try to do all of these things on our to-do list to make ourselves feel like we were actually happy, that we are actually filled with joy. And we've left him out of the equation because we're trying to do all of these other things to make ourselves feel good. And then we wonder why it's like, I got the money and I'm still not happy. I have the relationship and I'm still depressed. I have, the car that I've always wanted, the house that I've always wanted, and I'm still unfulfilled. Like, what is going on here? And sometimes, even as believers, we can put ourselves in a position where we get so used to pretending that we have joy. We know how to come to church and shout. We know how to come to church and sing. We know how to come to church and put on the face and smile and hug people. And anyone asks you how you're doing, oh, I'm blessed and highly favored. I'm amazing. And it's like, but are you though? Like, are you saying that because that's the truth? Or are you saying that because you've been conditioned on, this is how I speak as a believer? This is what I say. I want to share this and then we're going to wrap up. There is a devotion called Defiant Joy that's on the YouVersion Bible app. And it says, are we Christians known for our joy? According to research conducted by organizations like the Barna Group, Christians are known for being judgmental, hypocritical, and out of touch. It's like, great day. But not for being joyful. It's important to consider why. And this devotion is by Sharon Hod Miller. One reason is that we have gotten better at putting on an appearance of joy than actually cultivating the real thing. We paint on cheerfulness thinking it will get the job done, but it doesn't truly satisfy us, and the world sees right through us. That, when I read that the first time, I remember that hitting me so hard. One, because I was one of them that was putting on joy. Like, I was definitely like giving this facade of being happy and smiling and saying all the right things. And I was depressed and like not joyous now whatsoever. But it hit me so hard because it's like, why do I have to walk around, or why would I walk around pretending to have joy, pretending to be happy, when, as a believer specifically, when I know the source of joy? Like, I know my Father is the fulfiller of my joy, and I'm out here pretending like I got it and I don't. Can we make that make sense? No, we can't, because that's crazy. Like, when you actually say it like that, it's like, I have access to the source of my joy. I have access to the one who fulfills me. I have access to the one who literally brings the fun and the joy into my process. Listen, y'all. Think about how crazy it is to be in a space where it's like you have the resources that you need to help you to get through. You have the resources that you need to help you to be able to move forward, even when your circumstances, your environment are telling you otherwise. But you have access to the one who is able to bring something to you that nothing in this world is going to give you. Nothing in this world can even come close to. Nothing in this world is even going to match. A lot of you are in a space where you are seeking out this joy. You're trying to bring fun into your journey and into your process, but you're seeking it out in a way that is actually detrimental to your process. You're seeking it out through a relationship that really is big trash, like, let's call it a thing. It's not serving you in the way that you deserve to be served. Not just what you want, but that you deserve. You are trying to find it through sex. You're trying to find it through alcohol. You're trying to find it through all of these different avenues. And I know those are like kind of like the hot topics that we always go to. But the reality is, a lot of us, we seek those things. And I say those things because I've been there before. I've done that before. I've had those times where it's like I would drink, I would go out, and I would do all these things because it's like I feel like that made me fun to be around, because I'm naturally introverted. I'm not someone who is like super talkative around people that I don't know. And I knew that doing those things made me fun to be around. I remember staying in relationships that no longer served me in any form or fashion. I have been the girl where I was sleeping with a guy that I didn't even like for real. But it's like, it was a part of that comfort. It was a part of feeling like, well, I have something to hold on to. And you don't have to, that does not have to be a part of your story. That doesn't have to be a part of your journey. And I don't want us to try to seek joy in all of these other things that are so unfulfilling, that will never actually bring the joy that we're actually seeking, that we're actually looking for, because we're trying to we're trying to pretend that we have joy. We're trying to pretend that we're happy. We're trying to go through the motions, but it's like you have areas in your heart that is really hurting you. You have areas and things that you are dealing with currently, right now, today, that are really bothering you, that are really hurting you to your core, that you're not really addressing because you're trying to put on the front or give the facade of, I'm happy. Everything's great. Everything's going good. I did everything on my to-do list. It's like, okay, but you look like you want to cry too. And you know it's okay if you do. Give yourself permission to drop that. I know that feels really vulnerable. I know it feels really scary to completely let yourself be exposed and to say, I'm really hurting, or I'm really dealing with this, or I'm really dealing with that. Listen, that's where the healing is. That really is where the joy is, because you're no longer bound to what are people going to think if, what are people going to say if they knew? Okay, it's out there. And guess what? People showed up to support you. People showed up to help you to get through it. That's where the joy is, y'all. It's being able to let go of pretending that we have joy when we are in relationship with our Father, with God, who really is the one who fulfills joy. There was a point in my life where I literally had nothing. Like, I wasn't working. I didn't have a whole lot of money at that time. And I had truly a peace that surpasses all understanding. I truly had a joy in the lack. That's a whole word in itself right there. There can be joy even in the lack when you allow God to be the source of your joy, when you truly allow him to be the fulfiller of your joy. Don't allow yourself to go through your journey and your process pretending to be healed. Don't allow yourself, listen, don't do all of this work to get to the end and then realize you never really healed. You just pretended to. You just worked out. You ate good, but you never allowed him to really restore the joy in your heart, to really restore the joy in your mind. And for some of you, the reason why you've taken the joy out of your journey is because of church. Because you grew up in a church or you've experienced church where they told you have to do all of this right. You have to check everything off this list. And if you don't do this, if you don't do that, you're not a real Christian. And so you have become so strict in your relationship with God that you have not even allowed yourself to really experience him as God the Father, because you have been more focused on checking everything off of this list, making sure that your routine includes doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that. And if you miss it, then you feel like you're a bad Christian, and you have allowed yourself to create a mindset, essentially, that you have held tightly to as a believer that has really left God out of the equation because it's so focused on you doing everything right. And I want to encourage you to unlearn that, because we know that God has a standard. Let's not act like he doesn't. We know that God has a standard, but we also know that he loves us. And we also know that he gonna stick beside his children. Okay, he gonna stick beside his children, and you just have to return. You just have to return. And we are trying to do a lot of things at time in our own power, in our own might, in our own strength. And it's literally by his spirit. It's literally through him that we're capable and able to do any of it. And just based off of some of the things that we have learned as believers, that even with good intentions, leadership has made you feel like you weren't good enough or you weren't a good Christian if you weren't doing X, Y, or Z. And so with that, you created this facade. You knew how to do all the Christian things, but you haven't fully allowed yourself to experience the fullness and the depth of your relationship with God that can be messy at times. We've only allowed him to be the God when we're right, when we're doing the right things, when we got everything going right for us. But we isolate, we hide, we pull away when everything isn't checked off the list. I want to encourage you. This took a whole different turn than I had intended to for how this episode was going to end, but I feel like it was necessary. So I want to encourage you, whether you're in the middle of a reset, whether you're starting a reset, whether you hadn't even been thinking about doing any kind of reset, spend time with God and ask him to restore the joy in your journey. And it doesn't have to be this long drawn out thing. If you don't even know what to say, start there. God, restore the joy in my journey and allow you to be the joy in my journey. All right. I hope that this was helpful for someone, and make sure that you share it with a friend. Don't be stingy with your healing. Share it with a friend. Sharing is caring. But I hope you all have an amazing week. And until next time, don't forget, be whole, be healed, and be authentic. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into A Change of Heart podcast. I hope you were encouraged, and please take a moment to share with a girlfriend, and don't forget to download the episode. Lastly, I would love to connect with you. You can follow me on Instagram at angelwalston and at A Change of Heart podcast.
Have an amazing week, and don't forget, be whole, be healed, and be authentic.